Yesterday, I was looking at Truth Social for a little bit so that you don't have to look at Truth Social. You're welcome. And I just wanted to touch on some of the pictures, memes, and other assorted nonsense that I was seeing from supporters of Donald Trump. A lot of them were in response to Trump's own post. Trump would call himself great or refer to himself in some sort of grandiose way, and his supporters would respond with some of the most over-the-top images and memes that you could imagine. So without further ado, let's get into this and talk about some of the ridiculous things that are being posted on Truth Social, glorifying Trump one way or the other. And by the way, as you can tell by the music at the beginning, I was hoping for this to be a little more lighthearted than it'll probably turn out to be. But some of these images are just more disturbing than funny, as you'll be able to tell in a minute, especially if you're a Christian. So let's get into this and see what's going on. Now, the first image I want to talk about is actually posted by Trump, not one of his supporters, but it caught my attention because of the 66.8% and below that saying it's up by 0.4% in the last day. Now, Trump didn't have a link to what poll he was referring to, and I was unable to find it anywhere online. Perhaps someone who's watching this knows what poll he's referring to. I was going to look into it because I would bet that the 66.8% might have been 66.6% in a not too recent past. But I'm just speculating on that front. Maybe I'm completely off. But it does seem that 66.6 follows Trump around a lot. Anyway, on the next post, and all the images from now on are from Trump supporters. This particular image, Trump 2024 Return to Greatness, Make America Great Again, reminded me of a movie poster, a combination of a Godfather and Halloween or some sort of weird mishmash of topics. The font used for the words are definitely along the lines of more of a scary picture, and Trump turned around as definitely more of that mafia type of pose. Coincidentally, this picture of Trump reminded me very much of Syl from The Sopranos. And everyone knows there is a little bit of a mob connection in Trump's past anyway, so we'll let those images speak for themselves. This next image, you may wonder at first why I'm finding it humorous. It's obviously tackling and talking about some serious subjects. The reason I found this humorous is because if we just page up a little bit, we can see the title to this meme is "There is no greater evil," right above a picture of Donald Trump. Now, if the person who made this is watching this video, I don't mean to poke fun at you, but it does kind of give the impression that there is no greater evil, and then a picture of Donald Trump is talking about Donald Trump. The next image has Trump saying he's off to save America, and he wants company, I guess. This continues the theme that Trump is the savior, and Christians are going right along with it without batting an eye. The next image, we have Trump and a pride of lions behind him, talking about the witch hunt. Maybe a better play on words would have been the Wicked Witch from Wizard of Oz melting next to Trump. But lions and Trump are intertwined quite often on Truth Social. And of course, the Bible talks about Satan as a lion prowling around for someone to devour. The next image says Donald Trump, the president of my lifetime. That's a little weird statement. The greatest the world has ever witnessed. It is an honor to vote for you for the third time. An honor to vote for Donald Trump. Now, I don't remember any other politician in my lifetime, which is pretty long, ever having one of their supporters refer to voting for him as an honor. This is just so over the top, but it is what it is. And by the way, some of these images will have Lara, L-A-R-A, on them. You can see it at the bottom of this image on some of the others. Now, I do not know, but maybe some of you do. Is that Lara Trump? Is she actually working on Truth Social to put forth all these memes and pictures glorifying Donald J? I don't know. Let me know in the comments below if that is Lara or some other Lara. Here's an image we have Trump. I am your warrior, I am your justice, and for those who have been wrong and betrayed, I am your retribution. And we also have Trump taking the arrows in his shield, and he's shielding other Christians from all these attacks that come against them. Also looks like his sword has a bit of blood on it, so he's ready to take vengeance on all his enemies. And Trump's statement of "I am your retribution," I can't help but get the feeling that many of the Christians didn't even think they needed retribution. They just wanted Trump back in power. And then in recent months, Trump starts talking about retribution. And now it's all over the place. We not only have to get Trump back in power, but we have to take vengeance on all those who are against him. This image I thought was a little funny. There's a few of these. Donald J. Trump is the greatest president ever. We love you. With little hearts all around it, like a love-struck 14-year-old girl made this up. I remember when I was a kid, there was a Tiger Beat magazine and used to have images of all the teen idols back then. Of course, they were not 77 years old, so this one struck me as a little funny. The next image we have, once again, Trump looking for justice and retribution and payback and everything else that he wants to take. And it's going to come, and his supporters will think it's retribution coming from God. But actually, Trump is just striking back at his own enemies. Whether they are good or bad people really doesn't matter. He's just going to attack and seek vengeance on his own enemies. Now, this image obviously is not funny. Picture of a guillotine and a decapitated elephant and donkey. And that's what many of Trump's supporters, or perhaps nearly all of Trump's supporters, want to see happen. They want to see this kind of extreme vengeance where those who are against Trump will pay the ultimate price. Getting slightly back to normal, we have one listing Trump as the real commander-in-chief. Of course, this is a very popular idea in QAnon circles that Trump is still commander-in-chief. He's operating things behind the scenes, which kind of makes me wonder why he's letting the left get away with so many ridiculous things if he's still in charge. But there are a lot of his supporters who do believe that he is still president, still working behind the scenes, still running things, and has it all planned out when he's going to return. So here we have Trump with yet another lion. Trump 2024, winning like never before. Now, I don't know, maybe this line is Trump's running mate. So he finally decided on a running mate for the 2024 ticket. I'm not sure if this line has any experience in politics or is more from a business background. So we should hopefully find out more about this VP lion in the near future, I'm guessing. Now here we start to see a very common theme with a lot of the images, a lot of the memes, is that this mixture of Trump and the flag and the cross. Here it says, unites all Americans, one nation under God, President Trump. Now, anybody who was around during Trump's first term can tell you that he was not uniting all Americans. Trump was so incredibly divisive on nearly every single thing, and it was because of the way he spoke. He denigrated others, he took all the credit, he attacked people without a reason other than they might have criticized him in the slightest. So the concept that Trump is going to unite all Americans is absurd. However, this mixture of Trump, the cross, and the flag is not unusual at all. In fact, I spoke about this in an old video about Trump, patriotism, and the cross. I believe it was called The Devil's Triangle, that video from a year and a half ago or so. A poisonous mix, this Christianity, patriotism, and cult of personality around Trump. It is not going to turn out well for any of us. This next image, we see Donald Trump will repair America again, sewing the flag, a flag that he probably tore asunder a couple years back. But that image is kind of humorous. I guess you could make some other jokes about Betsy Ross here, but I'll let you figure those out on your own. The next image is a common theme as well, is that people who oppose Trump or oppose MAGA are not only wrong, they're evil. And this particular one picks on rhinos with a picture of Mitt Romney. But this casting of those who oppose Trump as evil is relatively new. We didn't encounter this previously in Christianity years back. Reagan would never have called the Democrats evil. He might have said they were wrong, as other Republican candidates have done. But in the last few years, anyone who opposes the Trump agenda is not just wrong, they're evil. And once you cast a person as evil, it becomes very easy to take the next step and look for them to pay the ultimate price for being so evil. This image, No One But Trump, and Nothing Will Change My Mind, is just a very good summary of how most Trump supporters feel. They are so wrapped up in this love and adulation and worship of Trump. And there are many who will get upset at the word worship, and yet they're flying flags, his face on American flags, as if that's just normal day-to-day activities at any other time in our lives. They will not choose any other candidate. It's why DeSantis or Christie or any of these other candidates really have no shot at unseating Trump. Trump supporters are loyal to Trump to the very end. Now, this image is a bit blurry. I couldn't get it any clearer than this, but it just shows a whole bunch going on here. We have the Trump train. We have Trump leading the charge. We have him wearing what looks like a championship belt of some kind. The train appears to have some sort of weapons on top. There's also an eagle in the background with a weapon attached to that. And there's a lot of explosions in the background. I assume this is the apocalypse going on. I don't think there's any other way to portray what the image is that you're looking at right there. And with this image, Jesus is apparently putting to rest any questions whether he chose Donald and Melania, because obviously you wouldn't see this kind of picture if it wasn't true. Now, this picture I did find a little funny. One of God's finest warriors, President Trump. Now, what I find funny isn't the theme that Trump is one of God's finest warriors, because that's the way a lot of Trump supporters feel. But I think what's funny is that the one of words will at some point be removed. He'll just be God's finest warrior, President Trump. That seems inevitable. And there were a lot of images like this next one where Trump is portrayed as bringing justice with him. He's not only returning to power, but he's going to seek vengeance, seek retribution, and take all those evil, bad actors who have been trying to prevent him from returning to power, and he'll hand judgment down to them. And that is obviously a big part of what Trump wants. You know, he's vengeful to an extreme, but he has succeeded in bringing his own supporters along with this desire for vengeance. By saying, I am your retribution, he's implanting this thought into their minds that, yes, we have to seek retribution. We can't just get back in power. We have to be extremely vengeful against all those who opposed us. And here we have, once again, adored, admired, respected, deeply loved. And a picture of Trump and Melania in the background there. Melania is partially hidden, so I guess she's only partially loved. But this love for Trump is just so over the top with these people. It's just unbelievable. There's another one about Trump, what goes around comes around. And that's certainly a part of his desire for getting back in power. He wants to strike back 10 times harder than the people who were against him previously. Now, this image, I had to laugh at a little bit. It's a little creepy. You know, Trump standing next to an eagle, and they're both looking just a little too artificial for comfort. Of course, every time I see Trump next to an eagle, I think of that old video where, if you remember, where Trump was posing for a picture and the eagle attacked him. Trump famously does not like animals. I don't know how that's possible, but it's the way he feels, apparently. This next image is a little strange. I don't know if they're saying that the fingerprint of America is MAGA, or the fingerprint of MAGA is America. Either way, it kind of conjures up the mark of the beast to me for some reason. Maybe someone who's watching this has a better idea of the message they're trying to give on this. Here's an image from our friendly folk over at QAnon, who say, we stand united with Trump during the final battle and we will win. And that's really a big belief with the QAnon crowd, with many Trump supporters, with many Christian Trump supporters especially, that this is the final battle. And when he strikes back at his enemies and seeks vengeance on all those who opposed him, all these people are going to think that this is God's will. This is what God wanted. All these people had to pay a price. In fact, it's just what Trump wanted. It's just all about what Trump desires, and yet the people who support him think that he's putting the country first or Christianity first. Trump is Trump first. Everything else is secondary. And here we have Trump riding in on a horse. I don't think it's one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, but maybe it is. Carrying a flag, and there's Jesus in the background. Also, coincidentally to me, it looks like Jesus is shooting lightning bolts at Trump, so Trump's ride on that horse isn't going to last too much longer. But I don't know what message they were trying to portray on this either. And the next one is, we love Trump. Now, this is no longer just funny from a silly teenage crush on somebody. Now it's getting kind of creepy, if you ask me. Here we have Trump. Here we have Trump with another eagle, angel wings, a flag, and the bright light, the sun behind him, signifying God's support, I guess. This image is just disturbing on many levels. Funny, too, but he's also appears to be carrying weapons, or I don't know, maybe it's a parachute of wings. I don't know what's going on here. Maybe someone can explain this one to me. So definitely weird, that's for sure. And Trump's return will be America's return to greatness. Of course, because everything Trump does is great. Here we are in that same theme. He made America great again. He made social media great again. And everything he touches turns out great. Truth, social. Yep, everything Trump touches just turns out to be so great. Now, this image I found a bit disturbing, and I don't know exactly why, but it's a flag talking to the viewer, I guess. Never forget me, for I am your colors. I was made from the blood of our fighting men and women. I fly for you and show you freedom. Never let it fall or waver. I stand for you. Will you stand for me? This kind of ultra-patriotism is very, very dangerous, and I think that's in our immediate future. Within a couple of years, if not sooner, it's going to be very popular to be ultra-patriot. We also see some of this going on now. You see people riding around with flags in the back of their pickup trucks. You see people with just promoting country left and right, and the mixture of Trump and the country and Christianity all over the place. But it's images like this that really brings out this kind of super patriotism that is coming, where it's just not enough to love your country. You have to be willing to emotionally be invested 100%. America is so good. Trump is defending America, and Trump is so good. Christianity, of course, is all intertwined in this. It's a very dangerous thing that's coming. It's all Christian nationalism, and it's coming our way fast. And this image, back to a lighter note, and with this image, we see Trump kind enough to take time out between one of his championship fights, and he's still in good shape. That's good to see. I'm glad he's working out, and he's fighting for America, and there's the flag, and the only thing they're missing on this image, I guess, is the cross. I think it was an oversight, probably, on the part of the person who designed this one. And here we have the only thing worse than the enemy is a traitor. And it's all based on the idea that anyone who is opposed to Trump or went against Trump or tried to stop Trump is a traitor. And it gets back to how Trump and America are being combined into one entity with many of his supporters. Being against Trump means you're a traitor to America. I mentioned this before, but the only other time in history that I'm aware of where a leader of the country was also synonymous with the country was Nazi Germany. It was commonly said that Hitler is Germany and Germany is Hitler. And we're headed for the same thing here. Trump is America. America is Trump. And with this image, we have the final battle. We have Trump being the savior of America. We have the Statue of Liberty crying because Biden and his deep state pals are destroying this country. So once again, we have Trump portrayed as the savior. This image even says, we would love to have you back before 2024. Many of these people are hoping that there are secret plans underway to restore Trump to power any day now. This image is just another one that's mixing Trump's military might, him being a founding father of some kind, with a flag and another eagle. I don't think this one's attacking him as of yet. May give it a few minutes and see what happens with that. Here we have nothing's better than the truth. Ironically, with a picture of Donald Trump. This specific picture seems a little odd too, because of the millions of pictures of Trump. This is one of those that looks like he's, should we say, exaggerating a little bit as he's speaking. Freedom is your birthright, with Trump dressed as Uncle Sam, I guess, flag in the background. And they're really dropping the ball here because the last couple of images haven't had any crosses on them. So I'm sure, let's see if they can pick it up in the next few. President Trump was right about everything. I don't know. I don't have any words to describe this. He was just right about everything. Here we go. Back to the biblical stuff. It's going to be biblical. Picture of Trump praying across. There's another lion. By the way, if you notice that image of Trump praying, you might have seen that a couple months back. That was an AI rendered image. You can look it up on a couple different websites who dissect why it is. There were a few different reasons, if I remember. For instance, his left leg, for instance, is actually in front of the right leg. If you look at the feet, the hands were all a jumble of different fingers mashed together. It's not a real picture. It was an AI-generated picture. with a lot of mistakes. And you can find a number of websites online that go into more details on how fake it is. And here we see that, once again, Trump is saving America. He's America's savior. There's no other way to put it. He's taking all the slings and arrows. He's being crucified. He's innocent. He's obviously innocent. He's blameless. He's going to save America. And that's truly what they believe. And finally, we have this one that gets right to the point. They've done everything they can to crucify this man, but there's no stopping his second coming in 2024. And they even have an image of Trump holding his arms outstretched as if crucified on a cross. Just another way that Trump is imitating, mocking Jesus Christ. So remember that when you feel a little down and depressed about all the bad news that's happening nowadays, and it just seems like every time you look at the news or turn on the TV, there's something to get upset about. Sometimes you feel you're just going a little crazy with all this nonsense that's happening. Take heart, though, because as Truth Social proves, there's always someone a bit crazier than you are. Thanks for watching this video, and if topics like the Antichrist and Bible prophecy are of interest, please consider subscribing to my channel. Don't forget to click on the notification bell so you don't miss any future updates. As always, kindly be respectful of others in any comment you leave. Thanks again, and I'll talk to you guys soon.